Hey yo guys, what it do? Welcome to the Intentional Conversations podcast. My name is Luxolo, but you guys might know me as Lux Kent. And this is a podcast we get to explore faith, life, creativity, and everything in between. And thank you so much for joining us. I know that we were away for a couple of months and COVID happened, but now we are back and we are back in full force. You guys good?
What is up?
Good. Baie goed. Lekker. Feeling mooi. Fine.
Yeah.
I can't think of other languages. Grand.
This man is speaking Afrikaans now. This is what this season is.
We are in Cape Town.
Away, Masakin. Bro, you know, they don't actually say Masakin is in Cape Town. I don't know why people just assume that.
Yeah, they say it a lot in East London.
East London.
Masik? Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, guys, we're speaking about just kind of reflecting, just chatting about the season we're in. The season we're in is a very tricky one. It's some people are enjoying it, some people are not. People are losing loved ones. People's loved ones are getting into hospital. Our lives have changed. Our plans have plummeted. People's plans have plummeted. Businesses have plummeted, closed down. People are losing their jobs. I went to, Sia, who's actually recording this and filming this, we went to shout out. We went to a restaurant the other day and they actually got rid of majority of their stuff, laid out. And that happened the first week of lockdown. So for 4 months, people have not been able to earn and get employment. So it's obviously a very hard one. It's a very tricky one. Families are struggling, marriages and relationships are struggling. How are you guys doing?
You want to go for it, Mom?
I was going to say Gruth.
Yeah, but well, it's crazy, man, because I think it just this whole thing reminds us of how not we are in control, because it feels like whatever thing you plan, but it's going down, You can say, I'm gonna do this, but then something else can come up. So it's like a reminder, you don't have any control, of anything. So which makes us to trust to take even more, So I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah.
Yo, bro, I think it's been a hard season, but also like a season that's been good. And when I say hard, I mean all those things that you mentioned, people losing jobs, income, just, but also for me being able to like just chill and try and like figure some things out, reflect, also rest. I think that before this, me and you would have conversation about Sabbath, and so now trying to figure out what is Sabbath in the space.
Yeah.
So it's been both, bro. It's been hard in the various ways, but also been like a good season in just trying to figure life out and life and faith.
So how are you dealing, Marv? I know, life has changed, so jobs have changed. How is it being at home with your family? Work isn't the same anymore, There's cuts, you're working on a computer. You are used to going to work every morning. You spend most of your life at work and you get to do work, but now you're at home. You're stuck at home and you can't leave. How have you really just personally dealt with that?
Not well.
Sure.
Firstly, I think when everything was normal, bro, I'd see my family like in and out, and so now it's like we in each other's space all the time, My mom hasn't been working. My dad's the only one's working like outside and stuff, and so it's been me, my sister, my mom. and then my dad, all in the same space. And so, yeah, it's been rough, especially in the beginning. I think now you kind of like on the fourth month?
Yeah.
You get into it and it's like, okay, now we're kind of used to it. But initially it was hard. Like, I'd be there and someone would just like be like, yo, I wish I was outside. Like,
sure, Sure. Yeah.
So I think adjusting was the hardest thing for me. And I think I'm still adjusting, even after 4 months. You?
Yeah. I went home for, I think, 3 months.
Sure.
Home was hard, man. I'm not used to being at home. Like,
tell me about it.
So I think that it's hard being at home, and not that like stuff is just, I'm just not used to being at home, and it felt like every day was bad news, and then I'm also just super disappointed in myself. I feel like tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and do everything I need to. And then I wake up at like 2:00 and be like, you know what?
Tomorrow.
Wednesday is a better day to
do it tomorrow.
So it's just and then just being like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and it was hard to be intentional about doing stuff because there's so much time and flexibility. Like even if I sleep the whole day, I can do work at night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then that messes up my next day, and then the next day, and then the next day gets messed up. So, and just learning. But it was very tricky. But obviously, stuff like this also reminds you how privileged you are, because I still have a roof over my head. I still ate every single day. Money and stuff got cut, but at least I had something coming in. You know
Praise
what I'm
God,
saying?
bro.
So, of which that isn't and wasn't the reality for many people. I had a good friend of mine who works in Johannesburg, but when the thing happened, he had to go back home. So he literally had to drive back to East London, and he's not going back to work until next year, which actually won't be the work that he was doing because this is gone. Yeah, so stuff like that just make I'm just like, wow, God is, has blessed us. The fact that I still have a job to still kind of go to and all of that. But yeah, we're not Gruth.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been hard, yeah, yes, because financial wise, ibethile, it's betile financial wise, and also even like people that are close to us, like you just said. Yeah, so they're struggling, and there's no way we can help because we need help ourselves. So it's hard to look at one. And also families getting sick. Yeah, I remember I had one of my family got sick, but then I didn't tell you guys because one of your family was sick. So I'm like, let me not add. Let me just so yeah, it's crazy, man.
To the stress, the tension.
So
everything is fine, Go.
Yeah, everything is cool. Everything is cool. Yeah. But at the same time, like you said, we like by the grace of God, see us a position that is privileged. And it is nice working at home. Because you get to cover. Well, for me, I get to cover Indo's needs. Even if I am done. But then I feel like, okay, cool. If I start with this project now, then at least I can be ahead of Ixesha, so I can actually do that. Than if Mendilap is pan because she's into everything here and then go home. So I think that might be the positive side of things.
I want you to touch base on that, but obviously this season has made us lose some stuff, but it's revealed a lot of things. But it hasn't just revealed a lot of things, it's revealed a lot of things about us and in us. You know, when you lose normality, you lose what you are used to, it shows you so much. So, like, as you guys just think, like, what do you think it's shown? It's shown like a lot of us, you know. So, like what Gruth is mentioning, he said, actually, I'm enjoying working from home, you know, and it's like, yeah, I could do this, you know what I'm saying? Like I could. But like, what has it revealed about you? What is it? You know, what have you seen about yourself during the season? Because we've never been in a space in a season like this.
Yeah, bro, that's such it's a broad question because I think a lot of negative.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, wow, bro, you were that lazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, actually, so one thing was like discipline, and it's very interesting because I've always said like, yo, if I had more time, I'll do this. You know, like reading books,
and then you get the time.
Bro, reading books. That's such a simple thing.
And you just don't feel like it,
bro. And it's like, actually, the issue is not time; is my discipline.
Sure.
You know, it's my self-control. It's like, you know, and it's like, yo, Lord, I need your help. Like, this is ridiculous. Yeah. You know, I read more books when I didn't have time than now. You know, and that's just a simple one of the simple things that I can share. But there's more, bro. You know. Yeah. So it's been a lot of negative. There's positives, and I don't know if you wanted to share that now or is that later. The positives been like that thing about Sabbath that I mentioned earlier.
Sure.
It's like now the rest is like you understand that the rest is not in just doing nothing. It's actually being with God or spending time with Jesus. You know, and that's kind of, and I probably knew that theoretically.
Sure.
But now, because I remember, I think, bro, we've had this conversation where you said like, yo, you don't rest by sitting and doing nothing. You have to be doing something. And I'm like, how is this? What is that? You know?
I hate that. Imagine just like, oh, now I'm chilling.
Bro, that is rest for me before this COVID thing. That is like, I'm gonna watch TV. I'm gonna chill out. You know?
I feel like actually with this COVID season, I've done that so much better. So actually today, Sundays are my Sabbath days, if you, whatever you'd want to call it, people want to call it.
That's a Christian word, bro.
So that how that looks like for me is I switch off my Wi-Fi and my data, and I do the stuff that give me energy, and I feel like that renews my love for God. You know, because I've cut off the distractions. You know, I'll probably only look at my mails and stuff later in the evening. I'll look at social media the next day. My WhatsApp is off. You either call me or you SMS me. That's beautiful. It's like, and so I create music better. I think about my week better. I think about everything I need to be doing so much more clearer. I don't have to reply to a message or to a text. So that's one thing I think for me that this season has brought. Yeah, bro.
Such a blessing, bro. I feel like that's kind of why the Lord let this kind of thing happen.
Yeah,
because the Lord let this thing happen, right? If we believe God is like a sovereign God, like He let this thing happen. So it's like some of these things is part of His plan, you know, where we can get to have that rest, have that like, okay, let's figure this out differently, you know? Yeah.
Is it part of the plan? But okay, maybe that's going to be too much of a deal. It's going to be too much of a theological. We won't get into that one.
Gruth is a theology guy, so maybe pass it on to him, bro. He got it.
You know, I don't play on that ground. I don't like. I don't even. Yeah.
What were you gonna ask?
But Gruth, you wrote an amazing song called Dry Lands.
Long time ago.
Really dope song. Check it out, guys.
His dreads was like this short.
I was in my prime. So.
I think that's when he actually switched from like
young grasshopper.
Gruth has always had nice haircuts. Very nice. He's always been like a very stylish guy.
Hair guy. Yeah.
I remember when we first started working together, there was this cap that he really liked that was so like this Obey cap, red and black cap. He just wore everywhere and these glasses of his. Always been a cool dude.
Yeah, no,
and then he switched from there to like the nicest cuts. Okay. The nicest cuts.
After the cap.
So actually when he got his dress, I was like, I wonder if he's gonna keep them for long.
Yeah.
Because he'd be like, this person has the same hairstyle as me. Let me change it. And then he changes it. So
how long have you had them, bro? Sidebar.
Since 2016, yeah.
Oh wow.
Because I think I was starting them 2015 with the cut and yeah.
But you wrote the song. I still remember when you recorded the song. He chased me out of the
recording.
Remember where we were? He came to visit to just try look for some stuff this side, and I was renting a room, but with it was like one of those small rooms that you rent at the res, man. But so I was, sleeping on the floor, sleeping on the bed, and then the other guy's bed. So it was like a bed, space, bed. So sleeping on the floor and bed. Anyway, but this room was small enough to record. So he recorded the song, brilliant song. And I just went to go watch the music video again. And I was actually saying to him, that music video is brilliant. We don't want to release it, and we released it last year, but we shot it like 2 or 3 years ago. But you say some very potent stuff there. I feel like we need to try re-record Langoma and put it out on the digital platforms. But what I liked about it, it felt real. You were acknowledging the season you were in, it's dry lands. You speak a lot about doubt there. There's aspects of like suicide, whether that's creative or not, but like dying inside, You speak a lot of like, does God love? Does God care for you? But then also you close off the song with a reassurance of who God is. So it's this gift that Abantu Abaninzi don't have, where they're able to name the season and all of the emotions in that season, but they're also still able to say, you know what, like, I don't understand, but at least I know that God is with me in some shape, form, or way. What was kind of going on at that time,
So there were a lot of things going on, bro, because as a man, I'm sure now you would agree to this. As a man, you go to the bush and then you come back.
Yeah, sorry, mom.
And then get okay, like you.
This is the boys. The boys don't.
If you think going to the,
that's another topic.
That's another topic. We need to talk.
Because I was chatting with something similar like this. I don't know whether it was Balco who, and then I was like, yo, our tribe, which is the closer tribe, think that we the ones who started the whole circumcision thing. But it's a topic for another. Yeah, I was going through a lot of things, boy. And yeah, like I said, like coming back and then what now? So you must do something. You must have your own place. You must. So it was hard for me, and also I feel like nasekerki, like some of the things, comments, would bring me down. This thing, like I don't expect this to come out from a leader. So it was a lot. It was a lot. And
so
also,
how do you battle? Sorry for cutting you.
No.
So how do you handle Gruth, those emotions and those seasons with this trust of God, where everything in you tells you not to trust in God?
So I feel like because I didn't write that song like and then tomorrow I'm done. I took some time, and I usually say this when talking to people about like my time of unemployment, usually colleagues. So I was like, I feel like music at that time made me to deal kakuhle with the depression, because I didn't feel depressed, or like I don't know, okay, maybe I was, but when looking at other people being depressed, I feel like I was not like that. Yeah, but so I feel like I feel like music helped me in a way, yeah, or eased the whole thing, because I got to express myself and emotions. This palipans, so I feel like that helped a lot, and like I said, like writing, taking time, but not
reflecting, thinking about what's actually happening in your head and your heart. Wow,
and I was also on who's this guy? Job,
Sure.
Like reading more on Job and then looking at how his life. I mean, like, I still don't understand, but like why all those things happened. I know the Bible says why, but like I feel like.
Don't understand.
Why? Yeah,
one of those books, bro. One of those books.
I think you lost that why up until Gruth is like the biggest Old Testament scholar I know. He knows Old Testament so well. Like if I just want something, I'm like, what happened there? And he'll be like, oh yeah, and then he'll like trace everything for me. I've never met someone who loves Old Testament like Gruth.
Like
it's really good, bro.
Bro, like Sidebar, with that song, the way you described it, man, I was just thinking of like David. Like that's how like some of his psalms is written. It's like he's going through the most here, and then he ends it off with like, oh, but God, and I'm like, wow, bro, like, you know, like how did he, you know? And it's interesting because I think David, even just tying it up with what you were talking about, like with depression and stuff, like music was the thing. Like I think he was called in to, I think it was Saul, to come play some music for him because Saul was like in a
tormented.
dark place. Yeah, tormented. Is that what he said? Tormented in a dark
told
place.
You, bro. Get your Old Testament right,
hey, bro. I can hear this conversation, bro. Tormented.
Get your Old Testament right, man.
Yo, bro, he was in a dark place, you know, and it's the music that you know, David came to play for him that was kind of you know instrumental.
And that's how sometimes I used to explain when I talk about music. I know this topic is not about music, but I feel like music, it's a place, but okay, maybe I'm gonna sound crazy, but it feels like to me it's a place, that you can go to, but you're only allowed to stay there for maybe 3 minutes, and then come back.
Out,
so I always feel like Mtulo is that, but to answer your question, so realizing because Job went through all those things, he was like at first, Maritima lives, I know Maritima lives, yeah, but Maritima, you're still there, and then God replies like, yo, who do you think has this whole thing, everything under control, So I feel like that's where I ended up getting to now, I felt like, okay, cool. Whatever this is, I do feel pain here, I do feel everything, I do feel emotions.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, you created me, and I'm here. So whatever you want, may it be or may it come to pass, So I feel like that's where I got to, and also there's a scripture where Paul, I think it's Paul, is saying, don't think of yourself kakulu, and think that, don't think highly of yourself, And I think that's another thing that we people get to, it's a trap that we all fall into, thinking high or highly of ourselves, and which makes us think that we deserve izinto ezithile, and we don't, but at the end of the day, we are sinful people, and we should be just like that that man Yesu made a parable of, who looked down when he was praying, and then the Pharisee were like, so like every time we come to him, we should be like that man and look down, because it's his plan. We don't know why. So I feel like that's the point. I
feel like we need all the. There's a lot of pressure now, Marv, just to say something that's gonna hopefully
I think
reach that level. You know,
bro, I'm not answering that.
There's levels to this life.
I see so, bro. It's like the wisdom is in those dreads, bro.
So it's stripping, bro. so now, Gruth, you speak a lot about creativity. I would love for us to, at some stage, speak about mental health and depression. And but you kind of speak about this dark place and how music was this outlet. And I was looking at all the comments and how people really related with that song quite a lot, you know. So now, how would you speak to someone who isn't a creative? Your own just little advice. So I come to you and I say, Gruth, I feel useless and worthless. I've lost my job. I haven't had money for the last 4 months. Umama no tata expecting something from me back home. How would you offer?
Well, that's a hard thing, Joe, because it's like most of the things that we understand, we don't understand them because we are tintini, maybe intellectual or what wise. But I feel like most of the things that we get to understand, because God revealed them to us, So it doesn't matter if you did, excuse me. It doesn't matter if you did what's this thing? Yeah, well, it doesn't matter if you're doing that, but if God wants, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doing theology, but I feel like God reveals ezizinto to us, ngendlela yakhe, So it's like going to someone who's poor and then be like, blessed are the poor, because if that person I got chilekeli so scripture kuye or the understanding of that, then akazoyazi uzoza different into ngixelela yona hence sometimes people get encouraged to go with something and then share the gospel because people won't understand. So what I'm trying to say is that it's going to be tricky, because if I say to someone, look, I know kunzima and you have to trust God, what does that mean? You understand?
That's good, Gruth. That's good.
So it's hard. It's hard to.
That's very good.
Yeah, well.
That's very good. Sure.
Yeah. Because even like the whole thing of so in there's this thing on YouTube. Was it YouTube or Instagram? I think it was one of the platforms. This lady was like, yo, why are you guys wearing me mask? Yeah, well, I do think it's crazy, but maybe for her, it works. Yeah, well, why are you wearing mask? God, you trust God? No. So for me, I feel like I'm not gonna risk it. Yeah, well, yes, I do trust God, but I have to also
He's giving
because
you
it's
a brain.
not like I'm gonna sleep outside because God is protecting me. Yeah, well, we have to also think and come on. So it's like such things. Yeah, well, maybe to that person, yan. Yeah, well,
I believe.
Exactly. Maybe it does. Maybe God is protecting that person.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
But so some what I'm trying to say, some things.
We're not that spiritual, bro.
We haven't reached those levels.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Some things may sound like, this is crazy, but to other people, they actually work. Work for them.
Yeah,
so I don't know, but I think like to be honest, I don't know.
Yeah, it is hard. But I think also just recognizing that people are in so much pain. Marv, you went through a very hard season during this time, and you wrote a brilliant kind of blog article just reflecting on how to deal with loss. And we got to chat often during that time and that season. What was happening in your heart and your time during that time? What was happening in your head and your heart during that time?
Yeah. Dude, to be honest, it's like it's a blur, like because you already have this COVID thing, and then you lose somebody, right? And
it's close to you. It isn't.
Yeah, very close. It's not like for questions, definitely, right? questions, because this even just talking about the blog, it's basically I was writing from like, oh, if you lose somebody who believes in God, loves God, does things for God, and the purposes that the Lord has put them here for, and it's like, it's a Christian lady, right? That's why I wrote that blog, because I feel like I couldn't. There isn't enough resources for that kind of thing. What is supposed to be our reaction to like a believer who we know the Bible says is going to heaven? And you kind of, that's where my heart was like, the struggle, like, yeah, she's going to heaven, but this pain is so real here, and should I be grieving? Should I be like, and if I should or should not, what should it look like? How do I glorify God in this space? And I think that sounds like it was a lot up here, but also emotionally, it was turmoil, because you want to glorify God in that whatever season you're in, and so I think it was a lot of confusion, a lot of questions.
Was it your first time losing someone so close to you?
Yes. Yeah. That close. I think the last person, it's probably my grandpa, and we weren't that close with him. He was living far and all that. So, yeah, bro. So a lot of confusion, a lot of questions. That's where my heart was.
And what is that season of loss and grief kind of just like revealed or just showed you? So this is someone, and loss is you especially family or someone is you're not alone, right? But did you feel like you're alone? So there's a thing of you are weeping and grieving with family members. So you also feel bad for grieving because you're like, I need to be strong. I have to hold it all together. I can't cry like that one because, you're trying to keep it together, but you're dealing with so much internal stuff. So how, how did you, like when you think about it now, just kind of like where you were at.
Yeah, bro, I think that's a real thing you just said, where you want to be strong, it's for the sake of people around you. And I feel like in that time, the Lord was like, no, actually, it's cool. Like, it's cool. Like the same way we were talking about how God understands the different seasons that you're in, even this season, I think somebody mentioned about that, and it was like, that's what I learned. It's like, Jesus, and I think I mentioned it in the blog, Jesus cried when Lazarus died, even though he knew what he was going to do, and he knew his power. And so it's almost like I the sense of like, God knows you, bro. He knows where you're at, so be kind of thing, like it's okay to be. And I think I'm still learning that, it's like in that moment it was very real, where the Lord was like, just be. And I think, bro, you phoned me one of the days that you phoned me, bro, and it's like you were actually trying to put that forward. I don't know if I could receive it at that time. And it's like because it's a process. I think grieving is a process. Maybe that's one of the other things I've learned. It's a process. And it's almost like there's levels and stages. And I think, I don't know if I'm answering your question, bro.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I remember that. I remember the phone call. I was on my way to Butterworth. And it was a Saturday morning.
Okay.
Or some morning. I don't remember. And so on one side, I'm like, I don't want to call you because I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And
that is a real thing.
And then
bro.
on the other side, I'm like, cool. Like if I do call you, okay, like what am I like? Do I say something? Do I just ask how you are, then let you go? But then you're gonna be irritated because like why? Like you know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm stuck in between over just saying, and so I just really felt at the time just to say like, grieve, like don't and all your questions and stuff is legitimate. I think it's okay to question God and it's okay to grieve, but I think sometimes our manliness makes it very hard for us to grieve, and it's also hard because you feel like you have to be strong for everyone, and I don't know how you do that, because how can you be? But yeah, I mean, I think this season has been hard for everyone. Thanks for sharing your stories, guys. And maybe that's what's happening, you know, just learning how to change with all the different seasons and learning how to manage and be together. So thank you for sharing your journeys. Shout out to everybody. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to the Intentional Conversations podcast, where we get to explore life, faith, creativity, and everything in between. You've heard from Marvin Kimani and from Gruth. We'll see you in the next episode. Ay, 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 ay.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching or listening to our podcast. Why don't you consider just helping us do this more, create content to help people live a life outside of themselves. You can do that by following us on social media, YouTube, all those good things. But specifically consider going on our Patreon and supporting us financially, so we can grow the movement, so we can help more people just live for God and live better lives. Thank you.